Good afternoon and welcome to Christmas in July, day 5. Wow, I don't know where the time's going. I really don't, but I'm having fun. So I've got a couple of projects for you today. I've got a card and then a 3D project. So for the card, I found this. I forgot I had it. Shepherd's Care. It's an online exclusive. It came out last year. But it's still on sale, and it's really lovely for a Christmas, especially if you've got some friends who like religious cards. So I'm going to be using that for my card, and then I've got a really fun 3D project for you today. So I'm also using the embossing folder from the Peaceful Garden suite, as well as some of the designer series paper. I'm using one of my favorite new ink colors, which is Cloud Cover. Just love it. And the designer series paper from that Peaceful Garden with the stars. So I'm going to use that. So I'm doing it as a tent this time, which I don't normally, but I was thinking I would put some ribbon at the top. I'll see how fussy it makes it look. I may go with it, I may not. So this is a half an A4. So 10.5 by 29.6, scored in half at 14.8. And then my designer series paper is, it should be, it's not, half a centimetre smaller. It should be 10 by 14.3. So let me just cut that down. So that needs to be 10. I think I must have cut another piece and I don't know what I've done with it. So is this 14.3? Yes, I've done the length. I just haven't done the width. So okay. And then I've got some of the beautiful two-tone, and it is Cloud Cover, but you can see there's a difference in the colour. Maybe you can't really see it on there, but there is a definite difference. And then I cut the larger label, which fits perfectly in there. So, do you know, I'm not sure I need that designer series paper. I'm actually not sure I do. Just having put it there like that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go without the designer series paper. It kind of detracts from, it's going to detract from what I'm going to have in the middle. Right, let's do my stamping first. So I've got the shepherd, and I'm going to need a little bit of scrap white because I'm going to need to cut that. The lamb at the bottom is going to get cut off. So I'm going to need to stamp him separately and then fussy cut. So I just need a little bit. There we go, that'll do. And I'm going to stamp him in Misty Moonlight. Now this is, I would do Cloud Cover, but I think it's going to be too light. Yeah, this stamp, I'm not sure if it is, it doesn't say on it that it's a distinctive stamp, but it kind of has that effect. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to just make sure I've got all of it inked. And you don't need to colour it in at all. So let me just see how much. Let's get the shepherd. There we go. So it doesn't need colouring at all. It's kind of got this colour already. So this little one at the bottom, actually, maybe I don't need to. No, I won't because it'll take time. So, but you could stamp him again, which is what I was going to do. Stamp him again and fussy cut. But I've managed to get quite a bit of him in, so I won't bother with that. Just to save time. I'm just going to give this a quick clean. Okay. So let's move these things out of the way. And I'm going to be using the same stamp set for my 3D project, but I'm not going to be using the shepherd. I'm going to be using, there's a big star, and then there's praying that you will feel the good shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. So I'm going to use that, but it's a 3D project, so hold on, we'll be doing that in a minute. Just trying to make a bit of space because I am running out of space. Okay, so I'm going to put this on with wet glue because it's, which do we want to go with? Debossed or embossed? I'm going to go with embossed, and the reason is, actually, before I glue it, I'm going to get my block, and I'm just going to do a little bit of sanding, because this is the two-tone cardstock, so it's the joy of it. You get to see the white coming through. Okay, and I'll pop that on with glue. Okay, and then I'm going to put that on raised with dimensionals. There they are, hiding. I'm just going to put that perfectly in the label bit. There we go. And then we've got Peace on Earth again. I think I'm going to just leave it like that. And then on the inside, I'll stamp with Secrecy, praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. Okay, I'm going to need that one again in a minute. Just clean it because I managed to get it pressed too hard. There we go. And I'm going to pop that inside with some seal. And I'm going to use some of these gems. Hues of blue. They're flowers, but they kind of look like stars as well. So, and do the Misty Moonlight ones. 1, 2, and a little one up there. 3. Go in. Thank you. Okay, and there's our card. I think it's the simplicity is kind of beautiful. I don't think it needs any ribbon, but I do love the embossing. And then there's your, so that's the card. Okay, then moving on, we're going to be doing something completely different. I'm going to need that and that. So last year, using the Celebrate the Miracle, which is a Hanukkah stamp set. I did this little tea light holder. Oops, a daisy. Throw it in upside down. Like so. And I thought it would just be fun to do something like that today. So I'm going to keep my tea light holder, put that away. And I'm using Real Red. I've got everything prepped, I think. So I've taken a piece of Real Red cardstock. This is the actual cardstock rather than the two-tone. And this measures 10 3/4 by 3 1/8. Then I've scored it at 2 5/8, 5 1/4, 7 7/8, and 10 1/2. And I'm just going to use my bottom folder for my fold. And then I punched it with the 1 3/4 punch. But you could, I mean, you could do it slightly bigger. You could do with that one, for example, I did a square. I die cut it with the Stylish Shapes. That's it, Stylish Shapes square. So you could do, you know, basically a shape of your choice. I think I've also done one with a Christmas tree. So I'm going to fold that. No, I'm not. I've got window sheets. I've got 3 window sheets measuring 2.5 by 3 inches. So I'm just going to pop those on there. I think I'll use wet glue just for speed. And as long as it's not visible through the circle, you'll be fine. Now, I was doing the virtual album retreats, and someone said that if you use your wet glue and put it to one side, it becomes like a reusable. And I haven't had time to test that, so we'll see. Right, so now I'm going to put my window sheets on. In that other one I showed you, I used vellum, but Stampin' Up! Have stopped doing the plain vellum. I think we all really miss it, so I'm hoping they come back with it. Go. Make sure I didn't go too much to the crease line. And there's the last one. Making sure I've got, that's it, lovely. And then I'm going to fold that down, fold that up. I'm just going to snip the ends off so that they don't show above the, just angle them slightly. There we go. And pop a little bit of glue. And I just mean a little bit because I don't want it going everywhere. Ooh. Oh, come on. Just making sure it's lined up properly. Okay, so there we've got our cube. Now I'm going to make the top and bottom. So these are basic white, and it's 3 15/16 by 3 15/16, and that 15/16 is that tiny little one between the 7/8 and the 4. So again, I'm going to use my bond folder, and then I'll use my paper snips. That's one. I realise that it's using my laptop camera rather than my webcam, but not to worry, hopefully you can still see me. Okay, then I'm just going to snip up the actual score. Might help if I put my glasses on. The actual score line. Oh, that's better, I can see now. Okay, snip this one and get the wet glue out again. I think that was very straight. Because it's white, it's quite difficult to see where the lines are. There we go. Okay, wet glue. So this is the bottom and the top, basically. And I'm going to need my pegs. So if you're watching on replay, I'd love you to say hi and let me know if you like these projects. Just line that up. This is why sometimes I think the Simply Scored is better, because when you do your score lines on the trimmer, and you've got no end to butt up against, which you do have on the Simply Scored. So it's easy to kind of do the wrong, you know, not do it in quite the right place, which is why I think sometimes they're out of place. Okay, that's one. I'll do them all. Oops, a daisy. That one definitely needs trimming. Right, let's just line that up. There we go. And then I'm going to take a couple of these pegs. Okay, so that's my bottom and my top. And I've got some red circles to use for something else. Now I cut a white circle out, and it's the 2 3/8 one, because I want to stamp my sentiment into there. And that's going to go on this side here. And then I've got to stamp my star. There we go. I managed to get some of that on my thumb. There we go. And that's going to go on there. And I'm going to pop that on with dimensionals. I love the edges, it's so great. And there we go. Pop those in. Okay, so that's going to go on my filled in bit. There we go. And then I need to stamp 3 stars. And then there's going to be a little bit of fussy cutting. Not a lot. And I'm using Darling Duckling. Last year I would have used Wild Wheat because it was the nearest it looked like gold. But this year, Darling Duckling. And I need 3 of those. There we go. Clone that in a minute. Oh gosh. That was the first one, so I'm just going to and normally I would leave white around it, but because this is going on to window sheet, you will actually be able to see it. So I'm going to go right up against the ink. I won't make you sit and watch me cut all 3. I will just cut one and then show you what it looks like. And then there'll be a picture of the final thing on my blog. There's no die for this stamp set. It's just the stamps. And it is one of the $1 million stamp sets, so it's designed by a demonstrator. So tomorrow, which is the 30th of July, as demonstrators, we get to see the digital copy of the new catalogue, which will have the Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, fall products in it. And we're able to pre-order from the 5th of August, so that's exciting. So I will be busy and quiet tomorrow night. But I know there's a white bit then. I'm just going to go around with my marker on these because it's so fiddly. And I don't want to wreck my star. But now it's dry, it does kind of look goldy. Of course, you could heat emboss them with gold embossing powder. That's another alternative. So let's just get my Darling Duckling marker. There we go. So as I said, I won't make you sit and watch me put those on. And I'm just going to glue that onto my window. Like so. So could actually use a glue dot for this. Using wet glue on the window sheet could get very messy. So I'm just going to use a glue dot. There we go. Now let's take the pegs off my lid and base. I've just done it so that my circle's coming over the top. And the same. And there you go. Right, let's get our, pop that in there. There you go. Can you see that? With the star is this side. So you'd have the stars on all three sides. So that's our two projects for today. And then you can put a bow or something on the top. So those are our projects for today. And I'll just remind you, whoops, let's get these out of the way. So those are today's projects. And then our previous projects was the bauble, the lip balm holder, and the little gift box. And then we had these fun cards. So there's the Santa card, and we had the Peace on Earth card, and we had the other Peace on Earth card and the matching envelope. So those are all of our projects so far. Don't forget, if you spend £50 in my online store between now and the 31st, I will send you the PDF with all 14 projects. So thanks for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if you like the projects, and I'll be back tomorrow with another card and 3D project. Thanks for watching. Bye.